sweet pound for pound. UFC thrills, stills nights get loud. Big EQP, that's how we get down.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it on a Sunday after a fight night full of finishes in the main card, UFC Vegas 119. Happy to see it. Happy to see that some decent fights happened after such a big event. Obviously, nothing's going to match up to that White House event, but at least we got a action-packed main card for the most part. I mean, we had some decisions in the prelims or whatever, but obviously not all decisions are bad. It's just when you get a card full of decisions, it makes for a rough night. So when it's pretty rare. What up, Antoine? It's hot. It's hot in Arizona right now. Johnny in the chat early, making some funnies, and then Xavier in the chat early as well. I hope you made it back, Xavier. He said he missed the event, so he was looking forward to the recap. No, I don't really know anybody in Scottsdale. But yeah, I'm just happy we got a lot of finishes. There were some really good fights in that main card. And you know, there's some decent fights in the prelims as well. But you know, these Apex cards are good for a lot of, you know, first, you know, debut fighters, and some of them come out on top. You know, they come out with big wins and big finishes, and some of them, you know, struggle and maybe gives a highlight reel for somebody else, or sometimes we just kind of get some duds. It's all around. It happens, you know, all the way through. It could be anything. So you never know what you're going to get with these Apex cards. Sometimes you get one of the best cards ever. But yeah. Oh, my wife's in the chat. Happy Father's Day to all dads. Yes, happy Father's Day to everybody. Everybody that is a dad. Everybody that's a stepdad as well, because even if you don't have your own biological child, that does not mean anything. If you're a dad to that person, shit, if you're an uncle who has played the role of a dad, if you're a boyfriend who's played the role of a dad, shit, happy Father's Day to you too. I know before I was married, before I had kids, I was in a relationship with a girl who had a kid, and I was 15. So what the fuck was I doing? 16 maybe. But yeah, well, that's when I knew I wanted to be a dad, but I knew it needed to be a long time after that. It wasn't that much longer after that I became a dad, but when it comes down to it, I have no regrets at all. We were young parents, but we made it happen, and I think we got some pretty good kids out of it. So I'm happy to be there. If you see the new lid, I got a new hat. I got 4 new hats actually, so you'll be seeing some new hats on the pod coming up here soon. This is the good old U of A hat. It's a new style. I liked it a lot. They have about 3 different versions. I got 2 out of the 3, which is pretty sick. And so yeah, I got a couple U of A hats. I only had 1 initially, so that makes me happy. And then I got a couple more Braves hats. One is a more of a comfy style, a little more low key, and the other's a little more just out in your face, but that's okay, because I like that one a lot. So you guys will be seeing the new hats coming through over the next few shows. But other than that, I hope everybody who's a dad out there has had a great day, and happy Father's Day to all of you. And especially, you know, my dad, my pops, who likes to watch the show. He doesn't jump in the chat very often, but yeah, he's always there. So he'll bring stuff up to me about what he watched, and I'm like, shit, at least he watches. That's awesome. But yeah, happy Father's Day to my pops and my brother-in-law, who is the dad to my 3 wonderful nieces, and all my friends who are dads out there and stuff, man. Yeah, hey, happy Father's Day, Xavier. That's awesome. I'm glad that hopefully everybody had a good day. I'm glad that mine, you know, it's a little different for me this year. My daughter's not here. My older daughter's not here. And you know, I'm usually like, it'd be nice to have everybody around, but she's gone. I got to, you know, FaceTime with her earlier, and we talked and stuff, and it was kind of cool today to know that she's making some food. One of her favorite dishes. It's some like Mexican shredded beef and Spanish rice that I've been making as of late. before she left, and kind of perfected it a bit before she left. So I gave her the recipes and stuff, and she actually made it today, and it sounds like it came out pretty damn good. She said that she had a couple things. She had a couple things that she wants to, improve on or change up a little bit when she does it next time. But for the most part, they said it was damn good. So, yeah, I'm happy to hear that she's taken my recipes, and that's what I did. You know what I mean? Like I had to learn early how to cook because I was a picky eater. So, my mom taught me how to cook. My dad's taught me some things on how to cook, and then I became for a job I was cooking. So, thank you, Xavier. I appreciate that. But yeah, so I took my mom. I still use my mom's recipes here and there, and I've made some of my own. And now, my older daughter has moved on and across the country, and she's taken those recipes and using them. My younger daughter had used some of my recipes before when she moved out and was cooking for herself. So yeah, man, I'm pretty happy that they enjoy my food enough to miss it when they don't have it and want to recreate it. So it's awesome. Do I have a favorite chef? I mean, I've always liked, Gordon Ramsay, but that's just because he's kind of an ass, and it's funny. He's an asshole in a good way. When I was in the kitchen, I was an asshole too. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Guy Fieri's a little cringe. But he's he's had some good things come out from him. But Gordon Ramsay for sure, I've learned a lot from him, and I don't know too many chefs, but I would say for sure, Gordon Ramsay is one of the ones that I've watched for a long time. So I only get my daughter during the summer right now. This is the second year in a row. Before this, I missed Father's Day and my B-Day with her, so I'm cherishing this. Congrats, Xavier. That's badass, man. It's awesome. I'm glad that I'm glad that sorry, I was reading the chat. I'm glad that you got to spend the time. That's awesome. It's always rough when you have to share time. So luckily I haven't had to, do that, but I understand it completely. So yeah, I feel your pain on that one when you don't get to be around and stuff. And I know a lot of people that have to share time. So it's tough, man. But I need to see Van get his diaper changed by Cop. Oh, damn. Long live over here, a Manel Kape fan. That's all right. Hey, listen, I'm done with man, I'm done with doubting Manel Kape. Honestly, I hated what he did with that whole thing with Makayev, but man, he's been on a fucking tear. And I'll tell you right now, he's not. It doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. And yeah, Van's gonna have a tough time with Manel Kape if he has to see him before Pantoja comes in. I think Pantoja is gonna be tough too, but we'll see how he bounces back from that injury. But yeah, Manel Kape's a handful for anybody, and as much as I hate hearing him on the mic, because he's just man. But that does not account for any of his fighting skills, because his fighting skills are there and they're badass. So, would you still collab with Guy, like cook a meal with him? Oh yeah, for sure. There's definitely stuff you could learn from Guy Fieri. He's not as big and well known as he is for nothing. But he's a different type of dude. I think he's he's good for a different type of genre of cooking, I guess. Kyoji was a really good opponent and Manel won. Yeah, 100%. Kyoji looked damn good in the beginning of that fight too. So, yeah, he looked good in that fight, and obviously we'll dive deeper into it here shortly. But I was going for Horiguchi. I just like Horiguchi for, nostalgic reasons. Plus, I love his skills. Like, he's super crisp. He's funny on the mic because it's tough for him a little bit. He's got it's like second language type shit. And Manel Kape, you can hear the thick accent, but he took more of the role of shit talking and just flaming people, trying to at least. And Kyoji's just funny. So, but the mic skills don't matter. The fight skills do. And both of them have skills. And I'll say this, Kyoji put up a damn good fight, and he was doing well in the beginning of that fight, but Manel just doesn't quit, and he's talented as all hell. So like I said, I'm done doubting Manel Kape. Not that I shouldn't have been before, but this put the final cherry on top. You know what I mean? So it was a good outing for him, and a good outing all around with the main card. I can't be mad. I was kind of sad going into this one, just thinking, damn, we just saw once in a lifetime historic fucking shit going on with the White House card. you know, from the walkouts to the cage and everything surrounding the cage, just the setup, the backdrop, everything. And no doubt his finger poking. Yeah, man. Fuck. Everyone seems to not give a shit about it. It's just so dumb. It's just so dumb. Yeah, I mean, I'm still hype over 252, man. I can't stop thinking about it. I keep seeing things, you know, and it goes to show, you know, I make content on, you know, TikTok, not a ton, you know what I mean? But like I do stuff, I make some edits on TikTok. I'm not like the most, you know, I don't have all crazy kind of skills or the time to really do the crazy shit, but I do make some edits on TikTok, and you know, I post stuff on social media. So I know just from how things go on TikTok and on YouTube Shorts, as much as people are liking it and viewing it, and how long they talk about it after, how long it keeps getting likes and views, those things dictate like how important and how popular an event was. And when you get a lot of traction, I'm still getting likes and views from my 250 content that I put out there. So that just tells me that a lot of people were interested, and a lot of people still, you know, are still thinking about it. So it's kind of crazy, but it's cool. Yeah, he said he owed his improvements to fighting Kyoji. Oh yeah, because he had lost to him before. Have you ever gotten a speeding ticket? Unfortunately, yes, too many times. At one point in time, I almost had my license suspended because I had too many tickets, but I've gotten better. I got gone defeating Tom by a kick to the groin and back of the head, shots in clear view of Herb Dean. And then when Herb Dean's not looking, he'll poke him in the eye again. And then Herb will just say he was out of position and didn't see it. But when the blue lights come on, were you nervous? Oh yeah, always nervous when the cops are behind you, man. Especially back in the day when I was not always riding clean, but and yeah, you know, so, not to. It's pretty obvious. Sometimes if listen, when somebody approaches the vehicle and I have my hands on the wheel, what's the first thing you see? And then you see my face and you see my demeanor. Yeah. You know, I got to be nervous because I'm just not making any sudden moves. That's all I'm saying. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, Antoine. Not everybody agrees with that kind of shit, but yeah, I just like to be safe. Better safe than sorry. Manel beefed with Kai in Israel. We need more of that. Yeah, the only thing my thing is, man, it's just Manel's. Yeah, it's entertaining on some parts, but like, dude, he goes crazy, man, sometimes, and I don't know. I don't necessarily like all of it, but it was entertaining, so I can understand where you're coming from with that. The entertainment aspect of it all. He definitely likes to talk shit. He always says something crazy on the mic. I actually didn't watch the post fight interview on the mic of his because I got sidetracked and I never went back to listen. So I don't know if he said anything crazy this time. I could be missing something, but yeah, I mean, I can't hate on his shit talk too much, but sometimes I'm just like, holy fuck, man. Whoop whoop, that's the sound of the police. I think it's crazy how cops can search cars and shit. Yeah. I miss her respectful as fuck when I get pulled over. Yeah. He was oddly too humble. Oh, okay. So he was toned down a little bit this time. No wonder I didn't see it, because I was like, you know what? Manel's gonna say some shit and it's gonna get clipped off, and I'm gonna see it on social media somewhere. And I never saw anything. So I was kind of surprised. So yeah, he must have been on a different level this time. But hey, listen, he let the fighting do the talking, that's for damn sure, because he looked damn good in there. You know, after the first round at least. So like I said, we'll get into that here in just a minute. Have you ever seen a canine? Yeah, I have a few times. But yeah, so before I get too far, let me give a shout out to my sponsor. Of course, you guys know I always got to do this at the top of the show, otherwise I forget, and I like to take a nice little whiff of the product itself. That's Noctane smelling salts. I'm sure you've seen videos of people, you know, trying them out, smelling them, somebody trying to, you know, trick them into smelling it or just putting it under their nose. I try not to do that. I ask people if they want to try it, and if they do, I tell them to be careful, but it's gonna, it's gonna be worth it. And then here we go. So this is the most potent bottle. It's a red cap. There are two other potencies, like a mid-range potency with the black cap and a white cap, which is the you know, like the entry level potency. So you could try it out, but scan that QR code on the screen. There's a link in the description below. You can always check it out on any of my videos. The link's always there. Noctane is my sponsor, and I use the product all the time. So here we go. Let's take a whiff. Like I said, this is the most potent bottle, so it's going to be a harsh reaction, but that's good for me because I like it. Here we go. Oh, there it is. Oof. And oof. I can still smell it. You got to make sure you close your eyes, because your eyes will burn a little bit, especially when the bottle is brand new. That it is potent. So that's Noctane Smelling Salts. It's my sponsor. I appreciate them for the sponsorship and the products. And go check it out for yourself on that main page. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it says proudly sponsoring the Going Rounds podcast, which is me. And it's cool that they have that there. So check it out. Thank you, Noctane, for the sponsorship. I don't think I've ever seen one, now that I think about it. Yeah, in Arizona, we also have Border Patrol stops all over the place. And because I drive everywhere for work, the canines are out a lot. And then anytime I've been to Mexico too, they're out there as well. And I've seen them, just for normal police canines here in town as well. So yeah, I've seen a lot. It's nothing new to me. How do you feel about the UFC having a new ranking system? Let's see. It's going to be weird because he says that there's AI influence. I don't know if the whole thing's going to be AI based, but there's definitely AI influenced. Unless he did say it was all AI. I'm not sure. It sounded like there was heavy AI presence in it. But what up, Tyler Fish? So yeah, I don't know how to feel about that, because as we know, AI is good for some things, not good for others. It's one of those things where hate it or love it, it's here. We can fight against it all we want, but people have found plenty of uses for it, and I promise you, your everyday life involves AI, whether you know it or not. So, and whether you want it there or not, it's going to be there. So, I mean, and if you're using high-end versions of the AI, it's good. If you're using free versions, it could be bad. So that's tough. So I think that with the ranking system, if it can really distinguish the difference between strength of schedule, wins and losses, performances, and all this other stuff, and whether or not whether, as long as it doesn't just use MMA math, I think it could be beneficial. So I feel like it's a good change for now, and we'll see how it goes. And maybe we'll just have to go back to just maybe go to what we said in the first place, which is get people that really give a shit about the sport, that are unbiased, and that can provide an actual ranking system that matters. Right now, they just have some bullshit people that really don't fucking know shit about fighting for the most part. Connor be sniffing something else, but no eyes closed 100%. His eyes are wide open when he's sniffing that. That was Joey Diaz with cool now. He got the plug. I seen Arizona iced teas in fast food restaurants while I was in Phoenix. Yeah, probably. Dude, there's so many FBI agents in Atlanta. Oh, weird. Wonder why. It just means that then controls. Oh man. Number one by Monday. So yeah, there's gonna be signs that it's not working, and I don't think they're gonna release it if it's out of control. It's been around a long time. It's just globally monetized and corporate now. 100%. Did you like the rankings when they were first came around? I didn't care really. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. When it comes down to it, if you follow the sport close enough, the rankings don't fucking matter. The rankings only matter when you get somebody who's like, oh, you got the number one contender fighting the number 12 guy, and then it makes for some bullshit, because it's like, well, how does that guy deserve to get the title eliminator spot when there's 10 people in between them? It doesn't make sense. But those are the only times I really pay attention, because I mean, the rankings are what they are. It doesn't really fucking matter. We know who's at the top. We know who's doing well, and we can distinguish the difference as fans as to whether, you know, and everyone's gonna argue it regardless whether there's rankings or not. So for me, I just go off of performances, and you know, I'll look at the rankings because they're there. But if they weren't there, what would we do? We would all just discuss what we know off the top of our heads. But you know, for them to populate all of it in some kind of a structure, it's just finding the proper structure for it. And I think that's what the UFC has to, you know, establish a proper structure for it. And I think that the structure they had before might not have made a lot of sense, but no one's ever going to completely agree with it, and no one ever is going to completely, you know, want it. So when it comes down to it, yeah, it's like, you know, is talking shit the way to get to the top of the rankings, or is proving in the cage the way to get to the top of the rankings? And do the rankings matter if you have boring ass fights? You know, do you get to the top of the rankings by having boring ass fights, or do you have to have exciting fights? Do you have to have a lot of finishes or just a lot of decisions? Do any of those things matter? There's so many different variables when it comes to the rankings that I feel like it's a tough thing to, you know, to decipher, and it's a tough thing to figure out how you're going to structure it, and what's the fairest way to do a ranking system. And I feel like they should have by now already had an established system that worked way better than before. Yeah, you're sweating bullets right now. um Gable Steveson might be in the top 5 next year, probably. But if he keeps doing what he's been doing, I mean, he's still new. But if he does what he's been doing outside of the UFC, inside the UFC, I'm not sure that he can, because the level of competition is going to be different. But we'll see what kind of matchups they give him. I could definitely see him being in the top 5 this time next year. Look at what Josh Hokett's done. You know what I'm saying? Just to go off of what Johnny's saying here, there's been matchmakers too, right? I'm not sure what you're saying by that, Xavier. Oh, because AI isn't really going to care about style matchups or plot lines, right? I mean, AI couldn't write Ilya. Oh, for sure. For sure. That's a good point, Xavier. Josh Hokett proved talking shit can get you further than a winning streak. Oh, there you go. You actually went and gets what I was saying, but you're right. Dana and Mick want Mozart to beat Volk so they can have Mozart versus Diego too. Oh God, that would be so annoying. Do you think guys ranked 6 through 10 should be eligible for title shots if they're on long win streaks? I would say yes, but I would say only if the person that's in the number one, only if the champ has already beat everybody that's under him, and if they are available. So that's my thing, is the champ should be fighting anyone that's ranked 1 through 5. And it should be the highest ranked person. And the reason for that, that is unless it's not a competition like Diego Lopez. If he's ranked number 1 still, then you can't keep fighting him over and over and over again if he keeps making his way back to that number 1 spot. So if they fought before and it was a clear cut win for the champ, then yeah, drop to number 2 and fight and get that guy to fight for the title, and so on. If those people aren't, or if they're hurt, you know, or if they're unavailable because they just fought or something like that, then yeah, let's drop down. The guys 6 through 10, yes, get a title shot. That's fine. If everyone that's in 1 through 5 is not available, if they're injured, if they've already fought, that's how you know that you've cleared out the division. You can't clear out a division if you haven't fought everybody in it. How the fuck does that work? And I don't mean everybody in the division like 1 through 2,500. I mean in the division as in the 1 through 10 at least, 1 through 15 tops. If you've cleared all those guys out, there's always going to be a new guy that comes up. So, you know, I understand the guys moving up a weight class because they've cleared out the division, but there's always going to be new guys. But it's fine. Do it then. But if you haven't cleared out your division or even come close to it, you've had 2 fights in your division and you want to move up a weight class. We've seen Ilya do it. Yeah, I get it. We've seen Ilya do it, and he was, you know, successful until he met a true lightweight, a guy that hadn't come up from 145, a guy that was at 155 and has been there forever. You know, so look at that. But that's what I'm saying. It's just one of those things. Or should title contenders only be 5 and up, like Jillian Robertson is fighting for the belt now? No. You know, like I just explained, I feel like it's okay for 6 through 10, but I think that the top priority should be 1 through 5. Interesting. I think I agree with that for sure. Okay, cool. Who would you pick between Diego versus Aljo? The way Diego looked against Steve Garcia, I not that Steve Garcia is like a world beater, but I think Steve Garcia is a really good fighter, and I'm not saying that he would definitely beat Eljo. I think Eljo has some skills of his own that would make that a different matchup, but I think that Diego, it's hard to keep counting him out, man. Unless he's fighting Volkanovski right now, I feel like Diego's beating everybody, so I think Eljo would have a tough time with him, but I think it would be a good matchup. Hamzat didn't want to clear the division. He wanted to move up. Yeah, I think Justin experience was the biggest X factor for against Ilya. 100%. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, how are you going to go up to 155 when you haven't even had the experience in that, much less the overall experience that Justin's had, and think that you're just going to run through him. But we've seen it before, and that's why everybody's like, you know what? That's how it goes. Tellison Teixeira is getting ejected from the rankings on Monday. That's razor close in my opinion. I would have Aljamain. That's a negative. Yeah. It is a very close fight. I'm just saying I keep doubting Diego, and it's the same with Kape. Like I just don't think that they should be there anymore, and they just won't go away. And I like Diego a lot. Don't get me wrong. I'm not that big on Kape, but I respect his skills. But with Diego, I like him. It's just, he's already gotten all the shots, and now he's just taking out the guys that would be really good to get a shot next. And until Volk gets out of there, it's going to be tough, because then Diego can't win because he just Diego slimes Eljo. Damn. Yeah, so it's just going to be tough. So it's an interesting concept. It's an interesting discussion for sure. Justin is one of those guys who just like to fight, man. It's so hard to put a guy like that away. Yeah, I was just listening to the podcast with him and Trevor Whitman on the JRE on Joe Rogan's podcast. I haven't got through it all yet, but I wanted to hear the stuff about the gloves because we're going to get into that right now. I think Aljamain would choke him out, in my opinion. Maybe so. Kape toned down because of Islam and his daughter. You'll probably like him more. Okay. I'll give him a shot, man. I don't care. I mean, it's all good. I enjoy watching his fights because of his skills. His skill set it's exciting, and he gets after it. So I can't complain about that part. So yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, man. And if he tones down the stupid shit talk, cool with me, even better. Tai Tuivasa going to be in the top 5 this week. Oh my god.
Damn, son.
All right, let's get into it, because yeah, the first thing I was just talking about that, so might as well get into it and talk about it here. UFC looking into new gloves, maybe, but this has been ongoing for years. I remember when Rashad Evans brought the whole idea to Joe Rogan on his podcast about the Onyx gloves. I remember when the Onyx gloves were being shown on Rogan's podcast, talking to Trevor Whitman, and and everything I saw on from the podcast from the other day. I mean, it makes sense. This glove isn't even like 100%. The shape is correct, but it looks like he was talking about it not having Velcro, and this glove looks like it has Velcro, which the Onyx glove is the one on the left. He said it was looking more like yeah, no shit, Manel and Gon don't want to wear those gloves. You think Hogan ever gets another big shot? Yeah, I think he does, especially after his win against Derek Lewis. They're gonna keep him going. I know they didn't like what he said, but they're not gonna allow that to change anything, I don't think. I heard fighters didn't care for them. For the Onyx gloves or the UFC gloves? Because I've heard nothing but bad things about the UFC gloves. And that's just because, what they're explaining is that, unless you're able to really work them in properly, that it's tough to make a fist, which is kind of dumb. But because obviously that's the main thing you're doing is making a fist. But I mean, they've fought with them for this many years. It's like kind of hard to say that, it's that big of a deal. But also the eye pokes, you know what I mean? The eye pokes are a problem. And they tried to change the glove up already once, and all they did was modify the current glove, and it was garbage. So I think Hogan could go in to fight Volkov in the title eliminator. Probably. Maybe I mixed them up. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't heard a lot about what other fighters think about the Onyx gloves. I've heard a few guys talk about them, saying that they're good. a lot of people are just used to the UFC gloves at this point, and I don't know, man. I haven't really like dug that deep into it yet, because from the past, I just remember it being on the podcast and talking about the glove style and all that. And if you look at like Pride's old gloves and some of the gloves from the other organizations and shit, you know, they were a little more like the Onyx gloves, maybe not exactly, but it seems like they put a lot of technology behind it. The padding is different. It's a different type of technology as well. And you know, there's all these people out there talking shit about Justin Gaethje and his what was under his gloves. Some people saying there was fucking rocks in his gloves, and I'm like, bro, where do you guys get this shit? You know what I mean? Like, where the fuck? I understand the picture. Obviously, it was different. Not everybody uses the exact same wraps under their gloves, and they have to get approved by the commission, regardless of whether the commission is sanctioned by, or you know, brought out by the UFC themselves, or if it's the state commission. They still have to get checked. I don't think the UFC is gonna let somebody come out with rocks in their gloves. Like, what the fuck? And on top of that, you could just tell that the wraps were a different color, and that's what people were freaking out about. So I don't get it, man. John Jones would quit before wearing these gloves. Oh man, all the prolific eye pokers. But for me, I mean, I feel like it's been, obviously the UFC glove's iconic, right? That doesn't mean that it can't change. It's changed up a bit since you know, since the beginning, but the big change that they made, it didn't work, and they went back to the regular gloves. So Justin removed some of the padding and wrapping. He had metal inside. Fucking hey. Bruh. That's pretty wild, and it's third party, so not their own camp. Yeah, yeah, I don't get it, man. But I think Onyx, you know, Onyx is made by Trevor Whitman, who is Justin Gaethje's coach. He's a fucking genius from everything I've seen, but he's kind of a weird dude, and the problem with all of it is that apparently, according to what Dana White said in the press conference last night, was that they were asking for too much fucking money. They wanted like 100 million to sell the product, you know, the prototype or the design to the UFC, because the UFC wants to own it, which doesn't make sense, because it's like, okay, so you want the UFC to be the only ones to have good gloves, like why can't everybody just have them? Just, you know, don't purchase the whole thing, just be the customer that they want to serve the most. And you know, but the UFC wants everything kind of for their own, so maybe that's part of the problem. I see both sides of the argument here, and I understand people not wanting the gloves to change up, and I could see people saying, like, especially grapplers and jiu-jitsu guys maybe having a bit of an issue with but the Onyx gloves were designed with mixed martial arts in, you know, in mind. That was the main focus, is that it is durable and it is useful for every type of martial arts that's used in mixed martial arts. So it doesn't mean it's perfect, but it does seem like it's a way better, you know, product. But I don't know. Just give your hand to Blue Chew if you want to cheat way less detectable. Oh man. I just think it's an interesting thing because of all the eye pokes. If this really were to cut back on the eye pokes, I don't think they'll ever not happen at all, ever, because no matter what, if your fingertips are anywhere near open and outside of a glove, there's going to be a chance for them to get, you know, but you're not going to get the guys who can do this. If you can't do this without forcing it, and when you do this, most of your fingers hanging out, then it's going to be a lot harder. Those guys that have problems with, you know, testing range and stuff by doing this all the time, if the glove is naturally curved, then it's going to be like this. It's not going to be like this. So if they're doing this, if they're touching somebody's face, even just to push them away, it's going to be more like pushing them with a punch. You know what I mean? Justin had great conversations with Antonio Margarito before the event. Gone sweating bullets right now too. because of the eye pokers. It kind of is because of the eye pokers, but they brought up a good point too about the fact that it seems like guys get tired more. It fatigues your forearms because the UFC gloves are so so stiff and tight that you have to actually put effort into making a fist. Obviously, if you just do this, you know, you feel that tension in your forearm when you just make a fist. But if you have something that's holding your fingers straight and you're trying to make a fist with that, that's gonna, you know, that's gonna make it harder. And if you think about how many times guys are doing this and this in the middle of a fight, and you're fighting for 25 minutes in a you know, in a championship fight, that's going to fatigue your arms quite a bit. So if you don't have to have that extra little bit, then that could actually help guys with, you know, things like fatigue and shit like that. I'm going to remove the penny. Yeah, so I don't know. Those are just those are the reasons why I think it's a good idea. Obviously, the UFC gloves have been around for fucking the 30 years that the UFC's been around, 30 plus years. But I just think that, you know, it's always a good time. It's always a good thing to change something that needs to be changed. And if it's gonna drop the amount of times a fight is stopped because of eye pokes, if it's gonna stop the amount of guys that get injured severely because of eye pokes, I'm all for it. So to me, I think it's worth looking into, and I think that both parties need to come to an agreement that makes sense for everybody. I don't think that the UFC should have to own the patent for it, but I also don't think that you know, I think that they just both need to come to some kind of agreement to make it better for the fighters, and for the fan base as well, so that we're not having to see so many fights get stopped and have to be questioning whether the eye poke really mattered or not. I think other thing they can change is bring back the old Apex and only have cards in. Oh man, the good old Apex. Shit. So yeah, that was just my thought on the gloves, you know, just because it's being discussed right now and it was in there. Yes, UFC, this is true. That is all fans want. Yeah, so I just thought I'd bring it out there because I had a couple thoughts on it myself. Did you see they're renovating the Apex even more? Yeah, they're trying to get it to where they can have a decent sized crowd in there. Because again, it benefits them to work out of the Apex because they don't have to pay all the people they have to pay. Keep happy. They don't have to pay all the people to travel. You know what I mean? 10,000. I heard it was like, I heard it was like 4,000 or 5,000. I didn't know it was gonna be up to 10,000. Because I mean, a regular like T-Mobile Arena holds what, like 16? Why would they make it that big? If you know what I mean? Maybe they're just, I don't know. Maybe they are gonna make it that big. I didn't know it was gonna be that big though. I think if it'll stop eye pokes, fuck it. Then they are pros. They will get used to it. Yeah, for sure. Oh, you're just saying. I thought you said. I don't think it's gonna go up to 10,000. I think it's gonna be like somewhere between like 3,000 or 4,000 probably. T-Mobile has like 18. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was like 16, 17, something like that. Yeah, I mean, I like the Apex sometimes, but I just feel like when they put on an Apex card, it's never that great. And you know, we've had some great fights in there, but they was forced, and that's because of the, you know, the COVID stuff. Now it's like, it's just weird. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about the Apex. I would love to see a fight in the Apex, just be there in person, but I feel like on TV it's not as good of an event as it is when it's in a big, you know, arena with a lot of fans and stuff like that. But you know, it is what it is. Fights are fights. I'm just happy to see them and have them on and be able to talk about them. So I guess I should just stop complaining sometimes. But you know, it's just topics to talk about on the show. Everybody has their thoughts and everyone has their opinions. So for sure, for me, I like talking about all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it all. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're here to do, and I'd assume that's why you guys want to tune in and check it out and hear about what's all happening and everyone's different opinions and every side of the story, you know? So that's what I'm here to do, and I just like talking about the sport, so that's why I'm here. So yeah, we'll move on. Let's get to this event. UFC Vegas 119. Manel Kape versus Kyoji Horiguchi happened last night. As we know, Kape came out the victor. but it was a good night of fights. We had five main event fights, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and once again we had all finishes, 2 by submission, 3 by KO TKO, so that's good. In the prelims we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decisions out of the 7. So the prelims gave us a lot of decisions, but we also had a couple of finishes, a KO TKO and a submission. So yeah, I mean, but there were some good fights regardless. Some good fights in the prelims as well. So we'll get to those in just a minute, but we'll get started with the main card, and we'll start from the bottom to the top as I've been doing recently. And yeah, I added a little something different here. Let's hope, fingers crossed, that nobody has a problem and I don't get a copyright thing or anything like that off of any of these. But finish after finishing the main, hell yeah, that's what we like to see. But yeah, I added a little bit of some video in here, so let's hope, fingers crossed, that no problems with this. So here's your first one, and that was Lock Dog Vinicius Oliveira versus Andre Fili, and here's your finish as Oliveira just takes out Fili. It was just vicious, man. Vicious. Lock Dog looking great, relentless, keeping up the pace, and throwing some elbows, mixing it up with knees and punches and elbows, and then there he is getting the finish. So that was a hell of a finish for Vinicius Oliveira as he took on Andre Fili. And you know, it was kind of a bit of a back, you know, a bit of a comeback in that fight, because in the beginning Andre Fili did what Fili does, and he starts off strong. You know, he had a good outing in the first round. You saw Fili came at Herb saying those elbows. Yeah, back of the head shit again, man. I know, I saw that. I just, at this point, with the explanation he gave, I just don't I don't know. I don't even know what to say. It's kind of the same thing with Gone, you know what I mean? The elbows to the back of the head, like everyone was asking, did they matter when it came down to it? Because he's kind of getting his ass whooped. It's the same situation as Gone. He's in the middle of a finishing sequence and getting dominated. So I know I argued for it, but you know, stopping the fight for a foul shouldn't matter when it's getting stopped. But at the same time, I guess I can understand where the refs are coming from with that. So it's like a tricky situation. I don't think there's any winning in that situation. I just think that if it's an illegal strike, the fight should be stopped, and a warning should be given, or a point should be taken, and the fighter that got fouled should have the adequate amount of time. But it has to be a proven foul, you know what I mean? Because if you just stop it because someone is complaining that it was a foul, then they might just be looking for the time to recover, you know? Aspinall is trained for sport. Gone is trained to turn you into a vegetable. Oh my God. Tyler. Yeah, but you know, like I said, Fili came out. You know, he was looking sharp early. He landed some good hard body shots. Remember, Oliveira's coming up a weight class to featherweight after fighting at bantamweight before. So this was his debut coming up from bantamweight, and you know, he got the win. He was getting touchy early, exactly. And you know, he was countering with leg kicks, and Fili's got some damn good leg kicks as well. So he had Oliveira in trouble in the opening round. But you know, Lockdown just came back and became you know, a fucking storm for Fili. He started finding his range, and he started hitting Fili with heavy shots. He poured on the pressure and put him up against the fence and just started wailing on him, you know what I mean? Is there a win on Tom's resume that's better than Cyril's win over Alex? Genuinely asking. Well, it's hard to say because you know, a lot of Tom's wins are quick, fast finishes. We hadn't really seen a lot from him. That fight with Gone is the first one that went, you know, almost into the second round. So it's tough to say, honestly, but I do think Cyril Gane's win. That's why I said he definitely proved a point by beating Alex like he did, but you know, there's still that thing where, oh, he was a light heavyweight coming up, so Gon should have beaten him that way. There's that argument too. I've heard it been said a couple times, and I'm like, I don't know that I fully agree, because everyone was high on Poatan and how much of an animal he is. I just think Cyril Gon's win, regardless of any of the other bullshit, was impressive. There's no way around it. So you know, it is what it is. I mean, the illegal shots are what they are as well. We've seen them let him get away with it before. I guess they're going to continue unless something changes. Who knows? At the end of the day, the refs are assigned for a reason. I feel like Dana will handle that stuff appropriately. I don't know, though. He notoriously says that he has no control over the refs. I think that he's possibly had a hand in getting rid of like Mazzagatti and maybe a couple others. But you know, he says it all the time. The commission is the one that assigns the, you know, gives the refs their assignment. So I don't know. I mean, but I've also heard of guys saying that they're not going to fight if a certain ref is in there. So something must be getting done somewhere in the background. And that's just information I'm not privy to. So, but I would love to know. I would love to know how that goes down. But we barely hear from the refs as it is. So it's tough to find out for sure. But in the end, I think Oliveira just you know, showed some serious toughness, showed that he can face adversity. You know, he's lost in the past. Obviously we know that, and faced adversity in the past as well. But you know, this time he overcame it, and he was able to get a performance of the night. I'm sorry, a fight of the night bonus along with Andre Fili, because that's how good this fight was. With the comeback win like that, you know, it's hard not to. Oliveira's the recipient of a few fight of the nights, as well as performance of the night bonuses as well. That Bernardo Sopage fight where you know, he got that flying knee knockout, that was badass. That was up against the cage too. He's dangerous if he gets you up against that cage, and Andre Fili found that out for sure during this fight. But when Sopage got flying kneed against that cage, and that was a double bonus for Oliveira. He got fight and performance of the night. You know, he's been finished by TKO in the past, but not, you know, that was in UAE Warriors. In the UFC, he's only been finished by submission. He's got that one loss to Mario Bautista in his last fight. Andre Fili, as we know, has been around for a while, and you know, he's got a lot of fights on his record. 25-14 now. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. He's 13-13 in the UFC. He lost his last fight to Jose Delgado by decision. He's been on a win-loss type streak. His longest losing streak looks to be about 3 losses in a row. Now he's got 2 losses in a row, and you know, he's already talked about retirement in you know, in the recent past. So we'll see. I'm sure he's going to keep going at this point, but you know, that was a tough fight, especially when he's winning in the beginning, and I think that's what's going to wind up keeping him in. And he's going to look to, you know, to bounce back from the loss and get away from this 2-fight losing streak he's got going right now. But Oliveira looks good in featherweight. We'll see who he gets next, and if he can avoid the early adversity and you know, get some really good performances in there in the future. So next up, we got Melsik Bagdasaryan versus Murtazali Magomedov. If you saw this fight, it was pretty nuts, man. It was a crazy finish, a great submission, and he gets that modified twister. Apparently, or I also heard it called a Scottish twister. I'm not exactly sure what that was, but I think a lot of people were questioning it, because all it really looks like is he tried to fucking make his head touch his ass from the backside. Because damn, that was a nasty submission. He had the tight body triangle. He's controlling the legs, as you can see, and then he just bends his torso backwards the wrong way, and that had to be uncomfortable as hell, and probably painful as fuck too. So dude, fucking minute and 17 seconds into the first round, that was a, you know, it was a brief striking exchange, and Magomedov got the fight to the mat quickly, and then locked up that body triangle and transitioned it into, you know, the crazy submission that forced the tap. Like, I don't know how anybody wouldn't have tapped out of that, especially look how tight he's got that body triangle on. Hey, all is good. Welcome in. Appreciate you, brother. What's happening with you, man? But yeah, that was just an interesting and exciting fucking submission. Bagdasarian, landed an early, some early kicks, and Magomedov just was like not having any of it, took it down to the ground and locked up that submission. This guy's going to be top 10 by the beginning of next year. Maybe so, man. They got a bonus. He got a bonus for that finish. Magomedov did. Performance of the night bonus, and that leads him to be continue to be undefeated. And both these guys were making their UFC debut. So that puts, Bagdasarian wasn't. He just doesn't fight very often. But that puts Bagdasarian down to a 2-fight losing streak. He lost his last fight to Jean Silva by TKO in the first round. And Magomedov, this was his debut. It was his debut. That puts him at 1-0 in the UFC. He won his fight in the Contender Series to make it to the UFC by TKO in the first round. And now he gets this crazy submission over Bagdasarian in his UFC debut. He's 11-0 undefeated with his first fight being a big one in the UFC. So, yeah, definitely be looking out for him. Twister, right? 4th time in history. Yeah, it was like a modified twister of sorts. But definitely, yeah, the 4th one is crazy. You don't see submissions like that very often. It was impressive and it was fun to watch. So quick fight there. That leads us over to Hyder Emil versus C-Rod. Christian Rodriguez. This was an exciting finish as well. As you see the head kick that knocked down Hyder Emil, and C-Rod just followed it up with punches. He gets the position and winds up choking out Hyder Emil, puts his ass to sleep too. So that was an exciting one. Definitely fun there. And C-Rod's just a beast, man. That was a hell of a finish. That head kick came. What did I do here? Xavier, shit. This was the right time for you to have missed something and come in on the recap, because I don't usually do video because is that the kind of KO that ruins a career? No, the KO didn't put him out. The choke put him out. I'm sure, he probably he was not in good shape after getting kicked like that, but he definitely what happened here? Hold on one second. Okay, I see what happened. All right. So yeah, he definitely found that submission and choked him out, put him to sleep. But yeah, that kick was nasty. That does, that could play a role in Hyder Emil and his future, but I don't think that's gonna be like ruining his career. A lot of guys have taken big headed kicks like that and have gotten knocked out and still been okay. You just never know. But yeah, C-Rod obviously just getting that finish, which made for the 3rd finish in a row in the main card, and he gets the shit that could have easily been a KO had he continued to throw punches on the ground, but he saw the opening. He saw Emil was fighting back, so he locked up that submission and was able to get it with the guillotine choke. It's tough for Hyder Emil, man. He's only 11-3 overall, but now he is that puts him at 3-3 in the UFC. So also makes for his 3rd loss in a row. 2 finishes and 1 decision. He lost to Jose Delgado by TKO in the first round. That was a quick one, 26 seconds. He lost to Jamal Emmers by decision, and now he lost to C-Rod in the first round by submission. Before that, he was on a 3-fight win streak. So we'll see if he can turn it around. He had a couple TKO wins with a bonus on one of them and then a decision win. So we'll see if he can turn it around and get back in that win column for Hyder Emil. But as far as C-Rod goes, he's always a tough opponent. But the instinct to go for the neck, like, that was impressive. Yeah, he noticed that, maybe he would just have the chance of wearing himself out trying to finish it with strikes. And he saw the opening and took that neck. That was definitely quick thinking and skillful. So it was good to see coming from C-Rod. But yeah, that puts him at 6-4 in the UFC. That breaks his 2-fight losing streak that he had going. He had lost 2 decisions, one to Melquizael Costa, who's a tough opponent right now on the rise. And pause. Oh shit, what'd I say?
Hey, no Diddy, man. No Diddy.
My bad, whatever I said. I didn't catch it. And then Andre Fili, he lost by split decision. So yeah, that puts him back in the win column. And yeah, he gets the win over Hyder Emil. And obviously, now if you get a finish, you get a 25. He found an opening and took that. Oh, got you. Shit, my bad. Oh, fuck. I didn't even realize I said it either. Anyway, C-Rod gets the 25,000 bonus for getting the finish and, you know, added to the finishes on the main card. So that leads us over to the co-main event. And that was Navajo Stirling versus Ion Cutelaba. Sterling's a beast, man. Check this shit out. You know, Cutelaba trying to grapple him here, and Stirling just stands up and starts unloading against the cage. Cutelaba couldn't do anything. He was just covering up, and as you see, the ref's letting it go. Navajo starts dropping some elbows, and that's definitely the side of the head, and that's when it ended. And Stirling gets the TKO win with punches and elbows. As you can see, he got that nice uppercut landed on Ion Cutelaba as well. Did some good clean body work. C-Rod, solid fighter, as mentioned last stream, main. Yeah, 100%. C-Rod's, you know, he's been a little back and forth with the wins and losses, but when he puts it all together, he looks damn good. So same with Navajo Stirling here. He's undefeated, man, 10-0. That puts him at 5-0 in the UFC. So he's on a 5-fight win streak now in the UFC since he got in. He won his contender series with a second round TKO. He beat Tuco Tucos, Ivan Erslan, and Rodolfo Bellato, all by unanimous decision. Then he beat Bruno Lopez by TKO in the second round, and now he gets a second round finish over Ion Cutelaba. And, you know, Cutelaba, of course, you know, he made things a little uncomfortable with his wrestling and the pressure that he puts on. He forced Stirling, you know, into some grappling exchanges that were a little probably uncomfortable for him, including, you know, a guillotine attempt and, you know, some submission threats. But, you know, it looked like he might be able to, you know, find a finish at some point or another. But instead, Stirling, you know, kind of settled in, shifted the momentum and was able to, you know, overcome everything that Cutelaba had for him, and starts turning it up in the second round and taking over with the strikes, avoiding more of the grappling and wrestling. As you could see, Cutelaba was up against the cage trying to hold Stirling down from posturing and letting go of his hand, but he wasn't able to. So Navajo just gets up and starts throwing a barrage of punches, and then, you know, transitions into elbows that wind up finishing off the fight in the second round. So that keeps Navajo Stirling at a perfect 10-0. I think it's a good win for Stirling, considering Cutelaba is one of those guys that, I wouldn't say a gatekeeper, but definitely one of those tougher opponents that it could go either way with him depending on how his opponent fights him. So that's pretty much the biggest fight that Stirling's had as of yet, the biggest, you know, threat for an opponent. And he, you know, under pressure, under adversity, he was able to overcome it all and stay composed, and was able to, you know, get his 10th win in a row, his 5th win in the UFC, and he remains undefeated. So we'll see what kind of competition he gets next for his next opponent, and we'll see what he can do with it, because right now he's looking pretty damn good. Thanks, Xavier, appreciate it. You think he's the best prospect in the division? I think right now probably because there's not a ton right now in that division. So I think he's definitely got some promise, and I think he could give the champ a run for his money right now. I don't know if he could beat him, but I think he would give it a good fight against Oldberg, especially with the way that Oldberg fights. They're kind of same stature, but yeah, it'd be tough. I think they should definitely keep just, you know, making him rise up little by little and build him up before they give him that title shot. But he's looking good, and I feel like he's definitely going to be a contender in the near future. So that brings us over to the main event, and here's your finish for Manel Kape versus Kyoji Horiguchi. As you can see, Horiguchi throwing the big strikes, but Kape is able to catch him, and he does a little face plant, starts beating on him there, face plants again, and yeah, there it is. And Manel Kape just finishes him with big punches from, you know, from the, I don't want to say that, but yeah, he definitely finished him with those big punches coming around from the back, and is able to just land with power. And Horiguchi couldn't handle it. You know, as you saw, he kind of face planted, and that's when the ref called the fight. So, you know, those punches were being landed and landed hard by Manel Kape. You know, Kyoji was doing well in the beginning, very well. I mean, he submitted Kape in their previous fight. That was way back in 2017 in Ryzen. But you know, as someone said earlier, that Kape said that he's been getting better since that fight that he lost to Kyoji. So as usual, Horiguchi's, you know, striking looked crisp in the first 2 rounds. You know, the he applied the pressure. You know, he threw some grappling in there, and he kept Kape on his toes. But for a while, it looked like, you know, he was gonna be able to, you know, either edge out a win by decision or find a finish somewhere in between. But then everything kind of changed in round 3, and Manel Kape turned it up. He started kind of landing some big shots on Horiguchi, which he had kind of been looking for earlier on in the fight. But, you know, he landed some good counters at the right time that hurt Horiguchi bad. If Manel Kape becomes champion, could they have a trilogy? I think so. I think Horiguchi's not done yet. I think he could get some big wins, and if Kape becomes champ, he could possibly make his way back up there. But, you know, obviously there's some big fights in between there that could happen for Horiguchi to get back on his feet and back in the win column. So hopefully AI recognizes him. Yeah, no doubt. Bro, when the legs wobble like that, you're in trouble. 100%. 100%. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, just being able to find that counter that hurt Horiguchi, that was the beginning and the end. And as we saw, he, you know, was able to get him down on the ground and just kept landing those heavy ground and pound punches and face planted him. And that's just tough, man, to see Horiguchi go out like that. But it just shows the power and skill of Manel Kape, you know, kind of a come from behind win, because he wasn't looking great in the first couple rounds. I wouldn't say he was looking bad, he just wasn't looking great. And, you know, he kept his patience, he was resilient, and he utilized that fight changing power that he has. So yeah, no problem, Xavier. As long as I don't have any issues with YouTube and stuff, then I'll try to keep that going as much as I can. I usually don't show any video because I've been, you know, flagged in the past, and it's annoying. It just kind of messes up the flow of the pod, and I have to do things to fix it. So it's stupid, and you can't have too many of those strikes. So I just get worried about that. But I try my best to show as much as I can, and if I can keep doing it in the future, I definitely will. Especially for those that didn't get to, you know, get to see it, and at least you get the finishing, you know, sequence. So I'll try to keep that going as much as I possibly can, because I do like showing it too. It's been rough. So I did keep it to strictly main card videos for now. Like I said, we'll see how it goes in the future, and if things are cool and I can keep it going, I'll start adding them in for any finishes that happen in any of the prelims. With the prelims mostly going to decisions on this one, though, I figured we'll just keep it to the main card with all the finishes that happen there. But as I was saying, Kape, you know, he took advantage of all of his skills and was able to find the opening to take advantage of Horiguchi and you know, get the finish on him. So if it would have gone to decision at that point in time, Horiguchi definitely would have been winning and won the fight. But I feel like that shows a ton about a fighter. They have a bad start against a great fighter and still keep their head together. That's special. 100%. Yes, I agree. And sometimes those are the best wins that you see somebody coming from behind on. And, you know, if somebody's dominating all the way. This is why I don't count Tom Aspinall out completely against Cyril Gane. I know we keep talking about that fight, and I bring it back up, even though I'm like, shit, who knows at this point. But that's the thing, is I would have loved to have seen that go and continue to see if Tom Aspinall can overcome that adversity and be that fighter that comes back from you know, losing the first round and in pretty big fashion, losing that first round. He got busted up right away. He wasn't landing the normal big punches he was landing on previous opponents against Gane, and I just would have loved to have seen what would happen after that. Who knows how the next fight's gonna go? Will he even be in that kind of trouble going into the second round like he was in that first one? So it could be a completely different fight, but because we didn't get to see it, we all got robbed of that, you know what I mean? But that's kind of what I would have loved to have seen out of him, because every other fight of his was either he lost the one fight because of the injury to his knee, but the rest of his fights were pretty much quick finishes. I mean, he barely even went, I don't know that he even went out of the first round yet, so in the UFC. So it's just one of those things where we haven't seen a whole lot from him. That's why I can't say, you know, couldn't answer that question earlier. I don't remember who asked it or what the actual question was, but for me, it was like, oh, if any of Tom Aspinall's wins were as big as Cyril Gane's win against Poatan, that's why I can't really answer that with full, you know, confidence, because I feel like we've only seen quick finishes coming from Tom Aspinall, besides the one loss because of the injury and then the eye poke stuff. So, and yeah, he was, you know, he was getting hurt in that fight, and it was not looking good for him in that first round, but we were so close to that second round that he would have had the time to, you know, recover. If nothing else got landed too big on him to stop him before those last few seconds. And then he could have recovered and come back out with a whole different game plan. Look what happened to Manel Kape. He may not have been beat up that bad, but he was definitely losing, and he was able to turn it around, find an opening, and get a win. So, good call. Now I got incentive to go watch them. Right on. That's good shit. But yeah, for me, seeing them get in trouble a little bit here and there, and not always just being the super dominant fighter is sometimes more impressive than just seeing somebody knock somebody out quickly. I like Cyril. He impressed me with that performance. He definitely did. I think, what's up, Tommy? Thanks for jumping in, man. I definitely think that Cyril changed my mind a bit with that performance as well. I don't think Poatan knew that he was going to get a challenge like that out of Cyril, especially with what we've seen from him in the past. And regardless of the back of the headshots or whatever, he was still beating him. He was still beating his ass. There's no doubt about that. The lucky punch thing, I heard something about him saying that Poatan said that he didn't really mean it that way. It might have either came out wrong or translated wrong, but he didn't necessarily mean that it was a lucky punch. But regardless, it wasn't a lucky punch. We saw him get worked. And that's all there is to it. I just think it was too much for Poatan. He didn't come in the way that I would have hoped he did. He didn't make the transition as well as he did from 185 to 205 when he went from 205 to, you know, heavyweight. So I think he just made a mistake, miscalculations, and that's fine. He's lost before. He can come back. You know, he got sparked out by Adesanya. You know, he lost that stupid fight to Blachowicz and Magomedov, I mean. And yeah, he'll come back, and we'll see. You know, we'll see if he can come back with a vengeance, or if heavyweight, you know, if light heavyweight was the limit and being at heavyweight is too much for him. And I think that's one of those things that we have to wait and see how he bounces back. I say it all the time. I always have to wait and see how they bounce back from their first loss ever, or their first loss in that division, or, you know, their first loss after, or how their first fight's going to go after them losing the title. You never know how they're going to bounce back. And that's what I always wait to see. Thanks, PVG. Welcome in. Appreciate you. Definitely, even before that, Poatan felt his power. You can tell he doesn't get hit like that often. No, 100%. You know, you see a whole different Poatan when that Stonehead gets crumbled by a punch, man. It's a different story. I told his ass not to get a PPL. Oh shit. That's hilarious. He was looking thicker than a Snickers, huh? Oh man, I think he needs to definitely hone in that weight and put on. When you weigh more than the natural heavyweight, it's a problem. And that's not saying a lot, considering Gon is like one of those fucking like Adonis looking dudes with a fucking great physique, and he's ripped as shit and doesn't really have a lot of fat like a lot of the other heavyweight guys do. But for him to come in as a 205er to the heavyweight and to weigh more than the natural heavyweight is crazy. So I think you miscalculated that one, man. I think he needs to hone it back in and just stay lean and maybe weigh a little less, and you get that striking back. I mean, I think he still had the striking, but maybe the speed and stuff. But we'll see what happens. Let's move on to the prelims and go from the bottom to the top there. We'll cover those, and then we'll see how the fight wheel predictions and my predictions did, and then we'll get out of here. So we'll start with Collins versus hold on one second, I got to get all my stuff Collins versus Tanzalovi. And Shane Collins coming in undefeated and keeps that undefeated record by getting the win by unanimous decision over Otari Tanzalovi. One second, I got to get all my stuff in place here. All right. Yeah, coming in undefeated, making his UFC debut, Shane Collins is able to continue being undefeated and move to 8-0. Sorry, I lost it there. And now makes it 1-0 in the UFC against Tanzalovi, who was also making his UFC debut. He was coming off a win in Fury cage. In Fury. He was scheduled to fight in UAE Warriors, but then that got canceled. So then he made his way into the UFC and lost his first fight against Shane Collins. And yeah, he was 0-1 in the Contender Series as well. He fought back in the Contender Series in 2024. He lost by decision to Josias Musasa. But yeah, we'll see what's up with Tanzalovi from this point on. But Collins was able to, he kind of showed a well-rounded game, good sharp boxing and cage control. He outworked Tanzalovi over all 3 rounds. And, Tanzalovi had a few moments here and there with some pressure, but I mean, Collins was just kind of the cleaner, more effective striker and fighter throughout. He was kind of well-rounded all the way through and got the clear decision. So he continues on that undefeated record, and we'll see what he gets next. As for Tanzalovi, hopefully he gets another fight and is able to prove himself in the UFC. As for now, he's 0-1. That brings us over to the women, and man, it was tough fighting pictures for these prelim fights, man. I don't know what was going on, but the pictures were very scarce when it came to a lot of these fights. Maybe it's because it's an Apex card and everyone's kind of taking some time off after that big White House card. I'm not sure, but usually I don't have problems finding pictures from the fights, and I kind of had some. Usually I have at least 2 pictures, and I can only really find one decent one for this. And it wasn't just decent because it's a good angle, because we all know Luana Santos is easy to look at, but this was just the only really picture that was available that was decent. So she gets the win though over Carol Hosa, unanimous decision win by Luana Santos. She kind of did what she normally does and is able to neutralize Hosa with dominant grappling, controlling where the fight took place, and just racking up that racking up that control time. So she gets the unanimous decision win over Carol Hosa. That puts Luana Santos at 6-1 in the UFC. It moves her to a 3-fight win streak with 2 unanimous decision wins and 1 submission mixed in there. Her last loss was to Casey O'Neill back in 2024, or her only loss in the UFC, I should say. Carol Hosa now drops to 8-5 in the UFC. She won her last fight over Nora Cornelli by unanimous decision. She's been kind of on a win-loss streak, so we'll see who she gets as her next opponent and see if she continues that pattern and gets a win. Was this the girl shaking it on Marab? No. That I don't remember who that was. It was definitely not Santos though. So yeah. That brings us back to the men's division, and Leon Shabazian versus Levon Chokeli in the welterweight division. And this was another one I couldn't find pictures of. I actually got some still frames from the fight itself, because that was, oh yeah, it was Aylin Perez. You're right. Yo, he had that guy screaming. Yeah, man, what the fuck happened with that? He took his fucking leg out, huh? That leg kick just fucking killed him, and then he swarmed him with punches after that, and gets the win 23 seconds into the first round. That must have been a hell of a fucking leg kick, because damn, yeah, you're right, he was screaming. And 23 seconds in, that guy was laying on the ground screaming. Yeah, he was rolling around and shit. I thought maybe he popped a fucking knee or something, but yeah, that leg kick was just, his legs do look like fucking twigs though, to be honest. I mean, it looks like he skips every leg day. So either that, I don't know, he looks like a guy who cut way too much weight and just was never able to gain it back. He's got kind of a weird body shape, I guess. I don't know, it's strange. Obviously 170 170's like, it's not that small, you know what I mean? It's not that small. We've seen some big dudes in 170. He looks like a geek.
Damn, son.
I get it. He does kind of, but you know, it just looked like he didn't belong in there, man. That was a tough one for him. He's 12-5 overall now. I mean, it's not like he's not had other fights before, but he lost before on the Contender Series as well. He's been fighting in Tough Enough, where he had a 4-fight win streak coming into this first fight in the UFC, where he gets TKO'd in the first round by 23 seconds, which is tough. He fought in the Contender Series back in 2019. He lost by TKO in that one too, but that was in the third round to Phil Rowe, who's a tough guy. So, but Levon Chokeli makes his UFC debut and gets a big win. This puts him on a 2-fight win streak, with one of those wins being outside of the UFC. He gets that was a TKO as well in the second round. His last loss was in Bellator to a TKO to Lawrence Larkin in the first round. That was back in 2024. He's gonna bounce back with a 10-fight winning. Maybe, but yeah. So Chikoli was in Bellator before. He was 4-3 in Bellator. That's where he suffered his last loss, and then he's now on a 2-fight win streak, with one of those wins being his first fight in the UFC. So he gets one of the 2 finishes in the prelims, and the only standing or finish on striking finish. So that brings us over to Gaston Bolanos versus Michael Aswell. This was a pretty fun fight, I feel like. You know, it was pretty competitive all the way around. Bolanos, you know, great. He had the striking edge on this one for sure. That made a difference in the fight, and a lot more experience too. So it seemed like he, or it just seemed like he had the experience, you know, just look, he had a lot of success in you know, keeping the fight close is what helped him with this one. And Bolanos was just able to land those clean shots. He controlled everything that he was throwing. As you can see, he landed that big knee there up the middle to the face of Aswell, and then that big right hand. So Aswell, you know, he had a little bit of success here and there, but nothing crazy. And this one went to unanimous decision, and Gaston Bolanos gets the win, puts him at 9-5. And that makes him 3-2 in the UFC. He lost his last fight to Quang Lee by submission. He's been on a win-loss type streak. Both of his losses have been finishes in the UFC, while all of his wins have been by decision. So he really needs to come back out and get a finishing win. Would be good for him, and to continue in the win column. But I think with some of his striking and stuff, he has potential to do that. He's just got to put it all together and find the right openings and land the perfect strikes, you know. So we'll see what he gets next. As for Aswell, that moves him to 11-5. He is now 1-3 in the UFC. That puts him on a 2-fight losing streak in the UFC. Both by decisions, both by unanimous decision. It was Luke Riley in his last one, and now Gaston Bolanos. He won his fight before that by TKO over Lucas Almeida in the first round. That's not Bolanos, that's Turo. It does kind of look like him, huh? All right, moving on to Mitch Raposo versus Alan Nascimento. Another one I could only really find one fucking picture for, which is kind of crazy. But we had a split decision win here for Mitch Raposo. Nascimento, looked like he was going to start coming back at the end of the fight. It was a pretty close fight. Raposo edged it out by split decision, but yeah, it was kind of back and forth. Some good striking exchanges. I think Nascimento, I was remembering incorrectly. I think Nascimento, he started off good. But yeah, it just, Raposo was just too much. He busted him up. You could see the damage on his face in this picture. You think Gable is a good martial artist? I think he's super athletic. I think he's a great athlete, and I think that's what makes him good in martial arts, because he's agile as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, jumping without even a running start over the ropes in what's it called? What the fuck? Dirty boxing. When he did that, I mean, holy shit. I mean, he tried out and practiced with an NFL team. He's been a wrestler all of his life. He's done stuff in the WWE. I definitely think he's a great athlete, and I think that can transition into being a great martial artist as well. It just depends on how much he works on his skill set and how much work and determination he has into becoming a good martial artist. But I think right off the bat, he has an upper hand on a lot of guys in that weight class because he's so athletic and the agility's there. So it's definitely a plus for him, and I think that if he just keeps working on it and he hones in a skill set past what he's already got and becomes a well-rounded martial artist, he's going to be a great one. So he's definitely got the potential. But as far as Raposo goes, he moves up to 11-3 with this close win over Nascimento. That puts him at 2-2 in the UFC, and he's now on a 2-fight win streak, both by decision. This one was a split. He beat Azat Maksum by unanimous decision in his last loss. Alan Nascimento moves down to 4-2 in the UFC. He was on a 4-fight win streak coming into this fight. He got a performance of the night bonus in his last fight against Cody Durden with a submission win. He's had 2 submission wins, both with bonuses, and then 2 decision wins, and then he meets Mitch Raposo and gets the split decision loss. So we'll see how he bounces back from that loss in the UFC. He did beat Azat Maksum by UD in his last loss. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, 2 decisions. So he had oh, you're talking about Raposo. Yeah. Okay, I got confused there for a second. Sorry. Like if he became heavyweight champion. You're talking about, you think he could be a star, or will his case prevent that? I think we've come to find out that no one's cases prevent any of that. You know what I'm saying? I think if he becomes a champ, it's just going to be, so people will bring it up and people will try to say this, that, or the other thing about him, but it ain't going to matter. Look at what Connor's done. Look at what John Jones has done. Look at what anybody else in the UFC has done. And that never stops them. If they're a star, if they've proven themselves to be valuable in the organization, none of those cases matter. And it's a damn shame to a certain extent. But yeah. So in your opinion, who wins, Van versus Kape? Man, like I said, I'm tired of doubting Kape, man. He proves me wrong every time. But I do like Joshua Van a lot. I think he has really crisp boxing. I love his striking. And I think that he gives Kape a really good competition and a really good fight. At this point, I feel like it's a pick 'em. I feel like it could go either way. I would lean slightly towards Van just because he's on a streak right now where he's high on what he's done, and he just seems to be looking better and better. But the same could be said for Kape. So that's why I feel like it's a pick 'em and it's pretty damn close. I don't know that I would bet money on either side because I'm not sure who I would pick. So gun to the head, I'm not sure, honestly. Can't believe he won his last loss, man. Crazy. What do you say? Are you trying to trip me up here, Tyler? You said Osmont, he beat Osmont in his last one, and then you said his last loss. Yeah, and I was like, no. I got confused because I realized you were talking about Raposo, not Nascimento. But I'm gonna leave that alone because you're over here trying to get me. I did get confused for a second. You said he beat him in his last loss. Oh, I did. Oh, I thought you were just trying to fuck with me. Oh, my bad. Well, good. Then you called me out on it. That's funny. Listen, I'm talking here for like an hour and a half straight. I'm gonna fuck something up. I just try not to look too stupid. You know what I mean? That's why I have notes and shit too. Most of what I say is coming off the top of my head, but I do still have some notes to try to keep myself in line because I will fuck some things up. I feel Kape can win because he is smart enough to not get caught. It's a good point. And I promise you, I'm not doubting that at all. And I feel like Kape has shown me so much now and proved me wrong so many times. Like I said, I'm done doubting him. So I don't doubt that he could get it done. I just like Joshua Van, and I was happy to see him get a win and get the title. So I would like to see him get the win, but I think it's going to be a very hard fight for him. And I think it's going to prove to be harder than any other fight that Van has had up to this point. So believe me, I'm not against you at all on that one. I could see it happening. Last fight we got for the prelims was another looker, Bia Mesquita versus Melissa Mullins or Dixon, whatever fucking last name hers is at this point. But that's the only other finish in can I ask Long Live what makes you such a Kape fan? I'm always curious when people like guys that, you know, or tend to be diehard fans of guys that a lot of people don't talk about that way. So I'm just kind of curious as to why you like him so much. Is it just his skill set, or is there like other aspects of him as a fighter that you like? Just out of curiosity. But Bia Mesquita versus Melissa Dixon. Mesquita gets the only other finish in the prelims with a submission by armbar, which was a pretty nasty one at that. He shit talks, which is something we hardly ever saw since Triple C. Yeah, okay. Good wrestling, striking, goes for the finish. He does go for the finish a lot, and I do appreciate that for sure. So, okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just curious, you know. I get asked a lot of questions, so sometimes I like to ask them back and see what somebody says. And I'm not sure that I've seen you in here before, Long Live, but I appreciate you for jumping in. And if you've been here before, thanks for coming back. Hopefully everybody likes what's going on here, and if you do, make sure you hit that like button for me, please. It helps my channel grow and puts it out there for other people to see. And if you're not subscribed already, please do that as well if you like the show, and share it with a friend, let somebody else know, and hit that notification bell as well, so always know when I go live or put out any content. Like I said, I'm gonna be trying to put out more shorts and stuff like that as well. But I go live Thursdays and Sundays. Thursdays are the recaps. Thursdays are the previews. Sundays are the recaps, and then I do watch parties for various different fight nights, but almost all of the numbered events as well. Thanks, Xavier. I appreciate that. Yeah, Johnny. Hopefully these go away. I'm a big fan of him. Manel got the best eye pokes. Oh man. But yeah, Bia Mesquita with the big win over Melissa Mullins. That submission by armbar. She worked at it too, man. Mullins put up a fight, but she definitely got that win in there. That puts Mesquita at 7-0 overall, and that puts her at 8-0 overall, and puts her at 3-0 in the UFC. So that gives her 3 wins in the UFC, all by submission, and one bonus mixed in there. That was her first one. That was the only one that went to the second round. Her last 2 fights have both been submission wins. In the first round, she's got 2 rear naked choke wins, and then this armbar win I always close my fists in sparring. I just can't understand that. Yeah, I don't get it either, man. It's weird, but they are the professionals, so I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, Bia Mesquita gets that win, continues on her undefeated streak. Now that moves Melissa Mullins to 7-3. She's 2-3 in the UFC. This makes 2 losses in a row for her in the UFC. Her last loss was a decision, unanimous decision loss to Dara Zelenayakova. Her last win was in 2024, a TKO win over Claudia Segula in the second round. So we'll see how she bounces back from 2 losses in a row. Will she stick around? Will the UFC get rid of her? Who knows? But Bia Mesquita looking like one of those girls that can make a good run in the UFC. She's undefeated so far, and we'll see what kind of competition she gets up next. If she fights somebody that's really good on their feet, because she seems to be getting big submission wins. So if somebody can keep her from taking it to the ground, we'll see how she fares in a fight like that. So that does it for the recap. Oh no, I'm sorry. There's one more. Shit, I almost messed it up. This is the last one. Kevin Borjas versus Andre Lima. And Kevin Borjas comes out with the unanimous decision win. There was that nasty, holy shit, that nasty kick to the groin that had Borjas down and out for a minute. But yeah, it was it was tough, man. That was a nasty groin shot. But as you can see, Borjas bounced back with that nasty body shot there, as you can see in that lower picture. Lima was on a good win streak. He was undefeated 10-0 coming into 11-0 coming into this one, and he was 4-0 in the UFC. And Kevin Borjas handed him his first loss in the UFC and his first loss in his career by getting a unanimous decision win over him. His previous fights in the UFC, he won one by DQ for that biting incident with Igor Severino, and then he had 2 decision wins, one over Mitch Raposo, who was also fighting on this card, and then he had a submission win over Daniel Perez in his last fight, where he got a performance of the night bonus. But then he lost to Kevin Borjas for his first loss of his career. Borjas, one of those guys that just kind of comes out and you just don't know what to expect from him really. He mixes up the speed and the volume, and is effective with his counter striking. So he frustrates his opponents, and he definitely did that to Lima over 3 rounds, and gave Borjas the win. He was on a 2-fight losing streak coming into this fight. He did miss weight, unfortunately. So that tends to happen when guys miss weight by a certain amount. They tend to get the win. Who knows why? Maybe it's because they didn't have to keep cutting or something. But either way, he still comes out with the win over Lima after he had a 2-fight losing streak to Sumadarji by decision and Imanol Rodriguez in his last fight by TKO. So we'll see how he does in his next fight, and what kind of if he can quit with the weight issues. And we'll see if Andre Lima comes back and bounces back with a win after getting his first loss of his career. That's one of those things, like I always say, we'll see how he bounces back. He was undefeated, and now we got to see if he can handle that undefeated record being broken and getting his first loss, because that wears on a guy a lot. So that's it for the prelims. That's it for UFC Vegas 119. Let's take a look at the fight wheel predictions as well as my predictions. I had Kyoji Horiguchi beating Manel Kape in the main event, which I was incorrect, as we know. The fight wheel did predict Kape winning, so that's 0-1 for me, 1-1 for them. We both had Sterling in the co-main. I had C-Rod in the third fight against Hyder Emil. The fight wheel predicted Emil, so I got that one right. I had Bagdasarian winning, and Magomedov got the win, and that's who the fight wheel predicted. And we both predicted Lockdog to get the win, Vinicius Oliveira. So that put me at 3-2, and the fight wheel predicted, the randomized predictions were 4-1. So not too bad. When Kape said he was going to New Zealand to beat up Kai, loved it. You think Severino ever gets a UFC opportunity again? Oh yeah, for sure. He was undefeated. I mean, he was 4-0. So it's only his first loss. He'll definitely come back and fight again for sure, unless some weird circumstances happen. But yeah. Oh, Severino. I'm sorry. That's the guy that did the biting. Ah, shit. My bad. No, I don't think he'll ever come back. Not after that bullshit. What did you rate the card? 1 to 10? The main card is a good fucking like a good 7.5. The overall card, I would give it a 6 probably. Yeah, I would give it a 6. I can't go too high. Do you think the UFC is falling in the Paramount era now? It's, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like the White House card, recency bias, you know, says that they're doing great right now, because that was a once in a lifetime and now event, and it was fucking fantastic. But you know, I think they bounced back from the way that they started in the Paramount era, and it's always, you know, working out the bugs in the beginning, so it's tough. But hey, what's up, John? How you doing? Welcome in. But yeah, it's always tough. It's always tough to make a distinction. You know what I mean? Who do you have between Kape and Van? I'm good, man. Just hanging out. Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. I feel like it's a pick 'em, man. I lean towards Van just a tad, because I think he's on a streak right now, and it's tough to break guys out of that, especially when they just started. But for me, I feel like Kape has been proving himself over and over and over again, and I keep doubting him, and he keeps proving me wrong. So I have to give Kape his credit when it's due, and it's definitely due. So for me, it's a pick 'em. I'm not sure that I could really bet any money on it. To be honest with you, I'm too torn between the two. But I would say, if I had to, I would say Van edges it out. But we'll see. We'll see. Kape has been doing well. So yeah, that does it. Also, Biggie, what's the last movie you watched? I actually just went and watched the Disclosure Day last week. So that was dope. That was pretty dope. I actually would recommend it if you're into any of that. Like, I wouldn't say I'm super into aliens and all that kind of shit, but it definitely interests me. So my wife is super into sci-fi and things. So when she brings stuff up to me, sometimes I'm like, not sure, but I'll go just to go with you. And this one, I was like, damn, this is dope. It was a badass movie. So I recommend it for sure. Disclosure Day. That was the last one I watched. Do you think Van is more hittable than Kape? It seems like it, to a certain extent, not by much though. I just think that Kape is caught. I mean, Van has caught some shots here and there, but I think that he hands them out more than he catches them. And I think Kape's a little bit similar, but Kape is a really good counter striker. So that's what makes me weary about, yeah, Arrival's good too, for sure. Yeah, I have seen that. I think Kape is a really good counter striker, and that's what worries me about him facing Van, because he could definitely catch him with a counter like he did against Horiguchi. So, because Horiguchi showed that really crisp boxing as well, but I think Van's a little bit better. So maybe he would be able to fight off those counters a little better. I'm not sure, but Horiguchi's tough. So, yeah. But Van's the champ right now, and he's been doing well. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. It's been a good one. It's been real, and I appreciate everybody jumping in. And thanks for coming back for the recap of UFC Vegas 119. Like I said before, Thursdays are the previews for the upcoming events, and Sundays are the recaps. Do you like the movie with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck on Netflix called The Rip? I haven't seen it yet, but it looked pretty damn good. So if you recommend it, yeah, let me know, because I have seen it and the preview looked pretty good. So I was thinking about watching it. I just haven't had the time. But if you recommend it, I'll definitely take a look. But yeah, thanks for jumping in, to all the new people in here. Thanks for everybody else for coming back as usual. I appreciate all the support. I just do this because I like MMA, and I like the UFC especially. So, and I like talking to you guys. So yeah, just keep coming back. Make sure you hit that like button before you get out of here, and come back on Thursday for the preview of thanks again, Xavier, as well. See you later, John. Yeah, come back for the preview of next week. We got the Azerbaijan card coming up next weekend, and we will preview that. It'll be Fiziev versus Torres in the main event. That's going to be a 9 a.m. start for me. 9 a.m. start for me here in Arizona. So as long as nothing comes up for me between now and then, I plan on doing a solo watch party. So be on the lookout for that as well. Would you see Scary Movie 5? I saw the newest. Oh, I haven't seen the newest Scary Movie. That was Scream. I would check it out. Yeah, I heard it was funny. My daughter went and saw it, and she recommended it. So, you ever seen Castaway? I believe so. Azerbaijan card is stacked. Yeah, man. There's some pretty exciting fights on that card. So come back on Thursday for the preview of that, and be on the lookout for the watch party coming up for that on Saturday as well. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Take it easy. Come back on Thursday. I'm out. Peace.